Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Electronic Box. Let me start by explaining those sunglasses. For a long time I was wondering why the heck Casey Neistat wears sunglasses for his videos. Now I get it. He does this for two reasons, well, maybe three reasons. For one, those stupid and expensive lights that make our videos gorgeous actually blast some radiation and also kills your eyes. The reason number two is to hide some negative emotions that are in the script, and eyes just pronounce this even more and express that more deeply by just doubling the negativism. Reason number three is to still have some privacy while you're sharing what you have planned actually. Now to the next key point of our video. If you watch CVP or Pro AV TV YouTube channels, you will land on the most gentle and polite language in the world. I admire that. Only those UK citizens can mention some negatives, but in such a nicer and gentle way that the drawbacks can become almost positive. They can call an useless camera a neater update.
What they've effectively done here with the Mark II is they've neatened up the FS5.
Or
we looked at the Canon R5 last year, and since then, Canon have released more and more firmware updates to improve the camera, and though it has its issues with overheating, it still is one of the best hybrids on the market.
I told you, nicer and polite British approach. However, I am Bulgarian and I'm always direct when I want to say something. I don't say that this is good or bad, but this is just who I am. I'm honest, and I firmly believe that this is the only way for some brands to listen to their customers and to bring their game to the whole new level. Now for all RME employees and paid supporters. Listen carefully. I'm not against RME. It is just the opposite. I love the brand so much that I bought 4 of their interfaces, and I wish and I dream that someday they will fix just 1 or 2 things that drive me crazy. Their mixer panel and the most requested 2 or 3 headphone outputs for all of their sound cards. Tell me, how many of the viewers that spit some bad comments here own and had tested so many RME cards like me? I'll tell you, not many. Although these individuals can be called ignorants and idiots, I will be super polite and I will use this CVP and Pro AV approach by calling them not well aware and also not much familiar with the RME brand and its shortcomings. All those not well aware people that say that RME is the best, I'm sure that they don't know about merging technologies or Prism or Lynx. Yes, those are better sound cards than RME. And before you again talking bullshits here in the comments, right away I'll tell you that for me, also RME is a better card because of the so many other ingredients, not because of the card or its sound. One good reason is the price. Tell me, if the Lynx High-Low is the same price as the Babyface or UC, who will buy RME? Or if Prism is the same price? Of course, RME combines many good things, the best of which is their drivers. Even some of those higher-end cards don't have that stable and solid drivers. That's a fact. And I had mentioned that in every single video, but the RME team is still not happy and always continue to bombarding me with crappy comments. Do I have to call them idiots? No, because I use this British polite approach, remember? Now it's my turn. Before I go more deeply into this, the good question is why I made this video. The super honest answer is because I love almost any aspect of the RME devices, except for a few things that drive me crazy, like I told you, only 1 headphone output for many models, and of course my biggest complaint, their mixer control panel. Now, to all viewers that non-stop scream how easy it is to work with RME Total Mix effects. Let's see if it is easy, as they say. I will show you not mine, but the official RME guide for a few topics, and later you can tell me if it is really easy and intuitive. Let's start with Onboard Effects section. Just to have a simple delay or reverb, you have to do the following.
The reverb and echo effects are send and return effects only, so they don't work on a per channel basis. If you look closely, you'll notice that every software and hardware input channel has a little fader next to the input channel fader. and these are responsible for the effect sense. So by turning up the effect send channel, the effects unit is detecting an input signal. But because we haven't engaged one of these reverb or echo effects, there is no output signal from the effect unit. Now we activated the echo and the reverb effect, and you'll see that we get the wet signal now. To route this wet signal back to one of the hardware inputs, we just have to turn up these little faders next to the hardware output channels, because these are now the send returns. So by turning up these little send returns, I'll just route the wet signal to the hardware outputs or to my headphones. And if I want to add also the wet signal with the dry signal, I just turn up the input channel faders as usual, and the dry signal is now also routed to the headphones.
Nice, huh? Around 6-7 faders and 2-3 buttons. Do you still think that this is intuitive? Now let's see how easy it is to set up the loopback recording feature.
Loopback will work on every output channel. So you'll find it under the tool icon, and then there is Loopback. And once I activate Loopback, every signal that is routed to this particular output channel will be sent back to the respective input channel, meaning I have output channels 3 and 4, and every signal that is now sent to this channel will be sent back to input channel 3 and 4. So let's do that. I have selected output 3 and 4, and I send my voice now to the submix 3 and 4. But you see, even though we have activated Loopback, that there is no metering. And why is that? Well, input channels in Total Mix Effects work in a specific manner, and they just show levels when there is a physical connection, meaning analog inputs or an ADAT connection. So just because you don't see any metering doesn't mean that there is no signal going to this input channel. So keep that in mind when you are working with Loopback.
Yes, that was better, but wait, what do they say? There is no metering, but there is a signal? And they call this specific manner. I call it specific zero logic. Here, I'm not sharing my thoughts only on this topic. Please watch carefully and see what Barry Jones, with triple of my experience, has to say after 30 minutes talking how good RME is, and at the end, guess what?
Let me say this before I get into Total Mix. If you've ever bought an RME interface and you're not used to Total Mix and you're expecting that interface to work like every other interface on the planet, it won't. It won't straight out of the box. You're going to be so frustrated with Total Mix because the basic functionality that every other interface manufacturer has, it's not the same.
I think that there is no need to show you more examples. Maybe only this and this and this and this and this and this. I'm talking to the future RME users that plan to buy RME. I feel a deep pain about how RME did everything else perfectly and how they can't make these controls more easier and friendly. I just don't get it. To describe the feeling for this mixer panel, I can say that it's definitely frustrating, overwhelming, not logical, and strange. Of course, the look of the mixer panel is gorgeous, plus one feature of the logic that is also great. Let me show it to you. In this panel, if you want to make monitor routing, it is super easy. They call this a submix. And it is great, no questions about that. First, you just click with the mouse to one of the outputs, for example, and after that you raise the faders that you want to go to this exact output monitoring channel. That's great, but believe me, there will be a point in time that even if you know that using your RME, you will reach a point that you will do all by the book, but the sound that you expect is not there, and it's not working like you want and as it should. It will happen to you. To wrap up this another honest video tailored to RME, I can say that RME is still my favorite choice because of the stable operation, drivers, build quality, and price that actually is bad. But following again that British polite approach, we can call the price somewhat acceptable compared to other high-end devices. The only thing that will stay in the way of many new users is the mixer control panel that RME is super proud of, but actually this is the only weak point for this card. Plus, need of more headphone outputs, of course. I hope RME can take some notes and that someday they will be inspired by the mixer panel of universal audio devices that are to whole nother level when it comes to the mixer and routing, not the drivers. There you have it, guys. Yet another honest video about RME Total Mix tragedy. If you like the topics and find them informative and at least entertaining, do not hesitate and smash the like button and to subscribe. From me, Nico, be well and keep the right mood. Peace.